So it's Sunday, and the 1st, I believe, of June. I really wanted to be at the boat in just a couple more days, but just, this is a pain, trying to get everything fixed. This is the piece of wood I just picked up from that pile of wood in front of that mobile home right over there. It's this really cheap particulate board, like chipboard, I think they call it. It's basically they take a whole bunch of chips of wood and glue them into a press and mash them into a board. The ceiling is all drywalled. It needs paint, but the ceiling and the wall actually have a seam that is closed. It's never had that while I've lived here. And it's been raining every single day. This is where the leak was. It's been, and out here, this is the drywall tee I made. But it's been raining every evening. Colorado gets these evening rains every May and June. But it has not dripped one drip since I installed it up there. And so I think we're good to go on that. Next project is the soft spot in the floor right outside my bedroom, and I peeled the carpet back, and in front of the washer and dryer is this previously vinyl tiled floor that's made out of even more particulated board. I mean, it's obviously particulating a little more at this point. It just basically is breaking apart. Rotted, rotten and gone. Oh, there's a pipe right there. Look at that. I bet that's plumbing for the bathroom, which is right here. But that's what I'm doing. I measured this from this seam on this cross board here to the cross board that's right under here. I can reach underneath there and feel it. Is a 20-inch gap. And it goes up to that heater vent, basically right there is where the board ends. So I'll get to cut out one corner of the board over here. As you can see, the screws right there. And so I was standing out there. I've been trying to get the garden completely prepped because it's exactly the right time for the new owner to plant in the next week and a half. So I'm standing outside and I see that there's that wood across the street, and that piece I just showed you is the exact size. It's 20 inches at the maximum point, so I can overpass this place. This spot right here must have gotten wet before I moved in. It's always been soft, but I just kind of stepped over it. My dogs didn't so much. But this board is swollen from here to here, so it's a little thicker than back here. It's still solid. It's just the particles swole up when they filled up with water, and then when it dried, it hardened at a thicker size. So I'm going to cut a little past. I'm going to put a 2x4 here and another 2x4 up here, like right next to this pipe, I guess. And then I'm going to expand. It'll be like right about here. I'm going to expand this board out. So I'm going to try to cut this piece of wood right at the edge of the board, and then I'll screw another 2x4 up against it this way, and that'll give me a platform to go onto without weakening that attachment, because the floor's fine going that way from right there. It does go all the way back to the wall, damaged. So I'm pretty sure that this damage, the way that it seems to have gone this way, is probably this washer flooding, maybe leaking out of that pipe, or who knows. I've definitely spilt water in this area a couple of times, but like I said, this was already soft before I got here. I just don't want to have to try to sell it that way. So, right. So, turns out that they just notched these cross beams, and you know the gap is a little bit wide, but this cross board here is just it's just like this 1x2 or 1x4. They didn't even take the time to throw away these little blocks that they chipped out of these little things. They just tossed them in here like that. I'm just amazed at how some of that stuff. But so instead of 2x4s, what I'm going to do is I've got a bunch of these 2x6 boards, and I'm just going to put one on each side of this. I'm going to put one over there. I'm going to put one right up along this edge. You can see I've got my vent exposed over there, so I'll have to cut a corner out for that. But I'm going to overbuild this. These boards actually were one board at one point, and they split into two. But I think if I have boards on both sides of them, you know, like every couple inches, I can reinforce it to where this won't happen again, even if it was just sitting here saturated. But once I get done with putting the support beams in, I'll cut the main board. It runs all the way back up to the wall in there, by the way. I was able to pick most of the stuff out with my rotozip and cut this, you know, like saw. I guess you'd call it I don't know, vertical saw or something. It's like a drill bit, but it's a saw. I was able to use that to get up underneath the ceiling or the wall board there, and a little bit on that side too. So I can overcut the board so that it'll fit up underneath the walls. And then after that, I'll just roll the carpet back up in and put it back into these. I'll pry all these little teeth up and re-hammer it down so that the carpet attaches real good, really well. And then I also kept the piece of tack board that was on this edge over here, and I'll put that back down as well. So with the padding, I don't think you'll even be able to feel that this spot was replaced. I think the lip, like right in here, will be unfeelable. You won't even be able to tell it happened. That's my hope and my goal. Well, it's an interesting day. If you see right there, I've got a for sale sign in the window. It's not the biggest one. There's a gob of traffic right here, and these little trees right here will block the view of it. So I put it up there up high, and then the garden's right back there. Put another one right there, which I wish my neighbors would turn their trucks around and have them face out so that you could see it up there. But nobody would ever notice it if I put it right there. It's really pretty right there. The timing is interesting because the grass is so green. These clematis are opening. I think that's what those are called, clematis. In a couple of days, this will be just a purple wall. It'll turn from green to purple, and the purple will all fall off, and it'll be green again. We got these, they call them buttercups. They're all wide open and gorgeous looking. Got these roses just started opening up, and they're really pretty roses. They got white on the outside and red on the inside. And the yard's all about as green as it gets. I had a huge mud problem the day that I cleaned the carpet 2 days ago because I left the water on back here, and it meant the dogs were tracking mud back into the house as I was cleaning the carpet. That was fun. These actually made it through the winter. I don't know what they are. Blue Hills Meadow Sage, something, Salvia. Strawberries are still doing well. Although most of the ones that started up earlier didn't really do that well, didn't make it. But I have still eaten like 4 of them off of there. And look at that artichoke. There's another one, and another one, and another one. And I'm sure there's probably 3 more in there too. As they start off like, I don't know if you can see that one in there, like this right here. So that'll probably be an artichoke right there too. And I wouldn't doubt that there's some other ones I'm just not seeing. That I sure wish I was going to be here for. This one's probably got 2.5, 3 weeks on it, and it'll be ready to eat. Hey, so the mobile home is completely ready to be, sold. See people looking at it as they drive by. Believe me, they slow down over and over again. I showed it to 8 families. I had most of them were not expecting the higher price, but and they didn't want to offer a lower price. I found that seems to be pretty common. People want to wait until you just come down in price and then offer, and then show up and actually buy it. I was selling stuff on Craigslist. That was pretty much the way it worked out the most often. Is nobody would call. I'd hit the price point that the product was worth, and bam, it was gone. Well, I put this up at $18,000 or best offer, and I had family after family show up and looked at it, but they weren't actually buying it. So this couple shows up. They were an older couple. The guy was from Hawaii. The woman was from here in Colorado. He was ex-military. I think she was as well. She said she lived on a boat for a while when she was in the service, and I don't know which service. I didn't, she never went into that. But they were retirement age people, and that kind of makes sense that you'd have retirement age people moving into a a mobile home. They're downsizing. Maybe they're not making the income that they were making before. Whatever it happens to be, but these people were willing to pay me $16,500 in cash, and that's what I really wanted. I was asking $18,000. I was hoping for $16,500 would do it. So I sent them over to the office for the mobile home park because I can't sell it to them until they're approved by the park. I pay $600 a month in lot rent, and the park refused to sell them, or refused to rent to them, because they didn't make 2,000 minutes after they informed this couple that they can't move in here. This guy shows up at my door. A little Mexican dude that I've seen around the park. He looked really familiar. I've seen him talking to other people that were selling their mobile homes in the past. And somebody's always putting stuff in our mailbox illegally without it actually being mailed. It's just in there. It's got our address on it, but there's no stamp mark. It's just in our mailbox. And the mobile home park's kind of allowed to do that, but nobody else is. And this is a private ad. And I'm very curious if it's the same guy. I'm really, really curious if it's the same guy, because I asked him, well, how did you find out that it was for sale? Because I took the signs down a couple days ago. And he says, oh, well, the mobile home park just told me, and I'll come over and give you cash if you give me a really good price. And I said, well, what's a really good price? And he wouldn't say anything. And I said, well, I had a couple offer to give me $16,000, and they were supposed to be coming back tonight and giving me that money, but the mobile home park refused to let them in, and now the mobile home park told you to come over here and lowball me. And I find that to be extremely interesting. Who are you? And the guy got in his truck and left. And so I'm really wondering if there isn't some sort of a scam thing going on in this park. I've been here 10 years, and my cousin got approved to be in this place twice, and he's never had a worthy job. He's always been a somewhat unemployed guy. So, if he can get in, why can't this elderly couple on pensions? All right, so the mobile home sold. The park did give them approval and let them in. So here's the empty master bedroom. Pretty much empty bathroom. I take that dog shampoo. You're seeing me do my final walkthrough. I'm leaving them this tapped bucket. They said they kind of liked that. I took my RO filter off the wall. Office room, I left the desk. You can see in there. Not really. I left the desk because they said they might be interested in keeping that. They weren't sure what they were going to do for such a thing. This room, you can still see the circle on the floor where my chair basically compressed the carpet for years and years and years. And the emptied place. I left the coffee pot because I figured that they can put it out on the side of the road. Somebody will take it. We've got scrappers really heavy here. And so I made him a fresh pot of organic Peru from Jerry's coffee company, the Unseen Bean, and left him a little sign that all they have to do is push the button and it'll make him a pot of coffee. So, you know, I was supposed to be out yesterday. But that last load, I just couldn't quite fit that last couple of items into the truck. That's it. That's the end of the mobile home, and that's a done deal. We're out of there. I no longer live in a misnomer home. I now will go live. Well, I will soon live on a mobile home, a sailboat. Can take me anywhere coastal. Almost. So anyway, that's that. Moving right along. And check out my hat. See ya. This is the newly built Adams County office buildings. Not the courthouse, just the office buildings. Huge marble room in there. It's just absolutely enormous and luxurious and all that. So Adams County, Colorado. There's Adams County. There it goes right across there. Government Center. Adams County is about as flat broke as they can possibly be. Colorado is one of the, the marijuana state, which incidentally it's 421. And but Adams County is one of the counties that banned dispensaries and therefore has no taxation, and so the entire county is just cram-packed with potholes and repair needs, and they're in debt up to their eyeballs and they can't afford to do anything, and yet they just spent millions and millions of dollars on that giant government building right behind us. So I just went out there and paid my outrageous I don't even own my mobile home's property. It's just on a rental property in a mobile home park, but I have to pay the property taxes on that. I don't know, it's probably 40 by 80, 40 feet by 80 feet. But that's every year I do it. It was originally about 40 bucks 12 years ago. Now it's $80 for 1 year. But to sell the mobile home, I have to pay those property taxes. So I just went out and did it for the last time. And look at those mountains out there, if you can see that. It's pretty far out there, but if you can see the mountains out ahead of us, we're heading right for them and going to Boulder. So that's the next video. Give me the ball hose. Give me that 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 ball hose. Hey. Hey, Hosh, give me that ball, Hosh. Give me that ball, Hosh. Give me that ball, Hosh. Trying to compensate for your reversals.
Yeah, well, you know, you're the one that's dyslexic, not me here.
Yes, that's it.